The vibration hit my custom-built standing desk at 2:47 p.m. I knew it was him before my eyes even dropped from the complex SQL queries flashing on my screen. Elias Vance, my father, doesn't respect time or boundaries. I was mid-flow on an asset trace for a major client. Millions hinged on my focus, but the text notification sliced through the calm. You are a disgrace. I'm removing you from the will. Do not contact us. Speak to my attorney. I read the words, cold and clinical, 3 times. My chest didn't seize up, which was the first sign that the years of emotional training had worked. Instead, a strange, cold clarity washed over me. My thumbs moved automatically. I typed a single, unadorned word and hit send. Understood. My boss, Marcus Sterling, was across the pod, talking about Q3 projections when I quietly clicked the power down button on my triple monitor setup. The sudden silence from my station was loud in our open plan office. "Excuse me," I said, my voice steady, professional, the kind of voice that speaks to bank regulators and federal agents. I didn't run. I walked, my heels clicking a slow, deliberate rhythm on the polished concrete floor of Citadel Security Solutions. My private office door closed behind me with a decisive thud. I didn't cry or rage. I just logged back into my workstation. My fingers, trained to hunt financial anomalies across continents, knew exactly where to go. First National Bank's secure client portal. I pulled up the accounts I still co-managed with my parents, the relics of a naive girl who thought family meant trust. The mortgage account for the mountain cabin, my late grandmother's sanctuary, loaded first. And there it was, sitting like a digital knife. Personal loan application. Status, pending disbursement. Amount, $50,000. Borrower, Julian Thorne. The signature block was a clumsy, pathetic forgery of my name, the slant of the T all wrong. Elias didn't even try to match my handwriting. He treated my identity as disposable as my emotions. I picked up the office phone and dialed the number I could recite in my sleep. First National Bank Fraud Department. This is Julian Thorne, account ending 9163. I am filing an immediate identity theft affidavit. This is a family fraud situation. The word family felt like ash on my tongue. While the bank rep, I think his name was Kevin, went through his security script, I opened my personal ledger. The spreadsheet was a monument to 5 years of misplaced loyalty. 60 payments of $3,200, $192,000 sent faithfully every month for the mountain cabin. Just keep making the mortgage, Julian. We'll transfer the deed when we retire. It will be your piece. Except they hadn't let me visit in 6 months, citing paying guests through Airbnb. I even filed their photoshopped property tax bills organized by date because I was the responsible one, the rock, the walking ATM. That old memory surfaced unbidden. 16 years old, handing over my first tutoring paycheck, my father's hand heavy and approving on my shoulder. Julian understands duty. She's helping with Reese's college funds. She knows what family means. Reese, the golden child, the perpetual crypto enthusiast, who now drove an Audi he couldn't afford. Kevin was still talking, but I was already scrolling through my inbox. 2 days ago, a forwarded Ring camera video from a neighbor, Bethany. The timestamp was late evening. My parents' porch. Elias, puffing on a cigar, and Beatrice sipping wine. Their voices were devastatingly clear. "Julian is just a walking ATM," Elias said, flicking ash. "She's so desperate for approval she'd pay for the air we breathe." My mother laughed. "It's a good thing she believes the Airbnb lie. If she knew we sold the cabin 6 months ago to cover Reese's bookie debts, she'd cut us off." The video ended. I sat completely still, my hands resting flat on the cool surface of my desk. I wasn't just unloved, I was financially abused and criminally defrauded. Love is messy, but fraud has evidence, documentation, patterns, and fraud can be prosecuted. I opened the proprietary forensic accounting software we use at Citadel. the kind of tool that exposes international money laundering, and began typing. Elias Vance, Reese Vance. Financial transactions. I didn't reply to the next text from Elias. Your mother is very upset. You've always been selfish. I just screenshotted it, saved it to a new folder named Evidence, and leaned back. Let's see what else you've been hiding, I whispered to the empty office. It was 2:47 a.m., and the office was a tomb, save for the cool, relentless hum of my 3 high-powered monitors. My coffee cup was cold, but I didn't feel tired. I felt focused, wired with the icy resolve that only pure, objective betrayal can produce. For 5 hours, I'd been running my family's financial lives through the same filters I used for high-stakes corporate embezzlement. Elias Vance's banking records, Reese's perpetual zero-sum accounts, wire transfers, all of it analyzed by the specialized tools of a senior forensic analyst. The data didn't lie. It coalesced into a precise, ugly pattern. Reese's checking account showed a bi-weekly rhythm of cash deposits, always between $9,200 and $9,900. Never, ever $10,000, because $10,000 triggers automatic IRS reporting requirements. And whoever taught Reese how to smurf money clearly knew how to skirt basic financial laws. I calculated the total. 18 months of these drops added up to nearly $170,000. I screenshotted every transaction, every file labeled with military precision. But the rabbit hole went deeper. Elias's business account showed regular payments to Vance Strategic Consulting Group LLC, a company registered in Delaware. A quick entity search pulled up the address, a rusted P.O. box service tucked into a strip mall corner. It was a ghost company, a paper shell designed only to receive wire transfers and make money disappear. I opened the public filings for the Community Outreach Foundation for Youth Empowerment, a nonprofit Beatrice had championed to maintain her social standing. I downloaded 2 years of their financial statements and started cross-referencing dates with Elias's consulting group. The breadcrumbs appeared immediately. Wire transfer from the foundation's checking account, March 15, 2024, $8,500. Cash deposit into Reese's account, March 18, 2024, $9,200. Another transfer from the foundation, July 22, 2024, $12,000. This larger amount was split, smurfed into Reese's account over 2 days to avoid flags. The correlation was perfect. 19 separate instances over 18 months. Every dollar siphoned from a fund meant for at-risk youth redirected to fuel Reese's pathetic gambling addiction and Elias's lifestyle. This wasn't just family betrayal, this was federal fraud targeting a charity. The anger I'd held in check finally solidified into something cold and useful: justice. I saved everything to my encrypted cloud storage and created 2 external hard drive copies. One went into my office safe, the second went into my gym bag. It wouldn't leave my side until this was over. Morning arrived, and I was still at my desk in yesterday's clothes when Marcus Sterling, my boss, called at 8:15 a.m. "Julian, do you have a minute?" His voice was careful. I walked straight to his corner office. When he saw my face, his expression tightened, recognizing the focus I usually reserved for major corporate espionage cases. The bank's fraud department copied me on an identity theft investigation regarding your accounts. Do you need Citadel's legal team? I closed the door. Not yet, sir, but I may need time off. This involves federal wire fraud across state lines. The money came from a local nonprofit. His eyebrows shot up. Federal? Take whatever time you need. We have your full support. He flit a business card across the desk. Agent Eric Miller, FBI Financial Crimes Unit. We worked a money laundering case together. He owes me a favor. Tell him I sent you. The relief was a quick, sharp stab. This was real, professional validation. My phone rang at 11:30 a.m. Unknown number. I answered. "Julian, stop this nonsense." It was Beatrice, her voice thin and frantic. "Your father only signed your name because he knew you'd say yes. We are family. You need to unfreeze these accounts right now." I tapped the record button on my phone's memo app. "Forging his signature is a felony, Beatrice, and since you just admitted on this recorded call that you knew about the cabin sale and the fraud, you're an accessory." My voice was clinical, almost boring. I saved the recording and filed it. The $50,000 loan was officially denied at 2 p.m. Reese texted at 4:30 p.m. "This isn't over."
I screenshotted it, filed it, and by the time I left the office, every joint account was frozen. Their credit cards were useless. They had learned the first painful lesson. The walking ATM had terminated services, and the forensic analyst had just started building her case.
Reese's voicemail hit my firm's main line at 9:23 a.m. the next day. I was reviewing the foundation's dubious expense reports when Marcus Sterling's executive assistant, a woman who rarely showed emotion, appeared at my door, face pale. "Mr. Sterling needs to see you now, Julian." The walk was short but tense. Marcus sat behind his enormous cherry wood desk, his expression neutral. He played the message. Reese's voice, slurred with panic and entitlement, filled the room. "My sister Julian is having a complete mental breakdown. She's addicted to prescription opioids and has been embezzling from client accounts to feed her habit. This is a family intervention. She's dangerous and we have proof." The voicemail ended. Silence. Marcus leaned back. "Do you need our legal department to handle this defamation, Julian?" My hands remained flat on the armrests, rock solid. "No, sir. I prefer to let the FBI handle it." Marcus didn't look surprised, just recognizing the move. He saved the audio, copied it to my personal drive, and said, "The partners have been briefed. Your reputation here is spotless. Take whatever time you need." He also noted Reese's callback number for my FBI file. I filed the voicemail. It was a perfect self-incriminating data point. At 11:47 a.m., the inevitable call came. "Aunt Vivian." "Julian?" "I've been hearing such concerning things about this situation with Elias. You need to be the bigger person, sweetheart. You're ruining your father's reputation over money." Her practiced sympathy was nauseating. While she talked, droning on about family loyalty, I navigated my folders. I found the file I'd prepared weeks ago, the forensic autopsy of Elias's accounts. "Check your inbox, Vivian. I just sent you a PDF. That's a copy of a check Dad wrote 3 years ago. He cashed out your son's college savings bond, the one Grandma left him, to pay for his country club renewal. He forged your signature on the release." A long, satisfying silence. "The bond was $12,000. I found the transaction while tracing the foundation's wires. You should probably check on your mother's jewelry, too. The pieces she left you? I noticed some interesting pawnshop transactions around the same time." The line went dead. I filed the call log. By 3:30 p.m., the email from Agent Miller's team arrived. "FBI Financial Crimes Unit, contact." I drafted an email requesting a meeting to discuss potential federal fraud charges. There was still one loose end, tying the foundation's public filings directly to Elias's shell company. I did it, totaling the figures. $85,000 stolen from a nonprofit meant to help children. The lawyer's cease and desist letter arrived at 4:15 p.m. demanding I retract everything and pay $150,000 for emotional distress. I actually laughed. I added the letter to the Veterans Fund embezzlement section of my folder, elevating the crime from local civil dispute to federal racketeering. I emailed Agent Miller. "Tomorrow morning, 9 a.m., FBI field office downtown." I printed the entire dossier, pages and pages of labeled evidence, and slid the manila folder into my briefcase. Tomorrow, the walking ATM started making withdrawals. 2 days later, after spending 3 hours with Agent Miller, I returned to my office. Miller had warned me the family would escalate. I found out how at 2 p.m. when my phone started vibrating nonstop. I opened the local community chat, the Neighborhood Connect. Reese's post was at the top. "My sister Julian is spreading lies about missing money from the foundation because she's bitter about being written out of Dad's will. The $85,000 was just a temporary loan to help our family through a rough patch. She's destroying Dad's reputation." He confessed, in writing, to embezzlement. I screenshotted the post before he could delete it. I didn't have to wait. The comments exploded. "Wait, so you're admitting the money went missing? A temporary loan from a youth charity? Are you serious?" A local news alert flashed. "North Shore nonprofit under investigation. Allegations of embezzlement from Community Outreach Foundation." It named Elias Vance, the suspended treasurer, and quoted the board president confirming they were cooperating with the authorities. The social destruction was instantaneous. Then came the Ring video from the exclusive country club. Elias, shoulders back in his familiar, arrogant posture, being intercepted by the manager. The audio was clear. "I've been a member here for 20 years. The manager's neutral tone. "The board received concerning emails this morning. Your membership is suspended pending investigation." Elias's walk of shame, past 30 members staring and filming, had begun. I didn't need to do anything else. Public exposure, community outrage, and institutional response. The trap had sprung itself. By evening, my phone contained 3 new neighbor videos. Beatrice staring at a utility disconnect notice, her face pale. A screaming match between Elias and Reese in the driveway over who was sloppy with the books. Then the text from Beatrice. "Please, Julian, we can fix this. We're family." I didn't reply. I just opened Agent Miller's email. Search warrant approved, execution scheduled at 6 a.m. tomorrow. I looked out at the city skyline. Tonight, my family was tearing itself apart. Tomorrow, federal agents would knock on their door. The ledger was finally balanced. The battering ram hit the front door at 6:03 a.m. I was in my office, having never left, when my phone flashed the headline, "FBI executes search warrant at prominent suburban residence." I watched the live helicopter feed on my laptop. The street I grew up on, where I spent years earning money to buy approval, was now swarming with black SUVs. Neighbors huddled in bathrobes filming the spectacle. This wasn't a family drama, it was a federal spectacle. By 7:30 a.m., local news cameras were on the scene. Beatrice was visible on the porch, mascara streaking, hysterical, as agents carried out boxes labeled evidence. She was performing, but the only audience was a group of neighbors who had just finished watching her son confess to stealing from a youth charity. The schadenfreude on the Neighborhood Connect was vicious and well-deserved. I closed the feeds. Their reputation was irrelevant now, only the facts mattered. My intercom buzzed at 9:47 a.m. "Miss Thorne, there's an Elias Vance in the lobby requesting access. He's quite insistent." I pulled up the lobby camera. Elias looked wrecked, shirt untucked, eyes wild, desperate and predictable. "I'll handle it," I told the security desk. "Alert security and call Chicago PD. Tell them there's a trespasser refusing to leave." I switched to the intercom channel. "Mr. Vance, I have alerted security and the Chicago PD. You have 2 minutes." "Julian!" His voice cracked with genuine terror. "You have to fix this. I'm your father." I opened the federal indictment draft my attorney had emailed me. 19 pages, my name listed under victim witnesses. I airdropped the file to his phone. His pocket buzzed, he pulled out the device, his hands shaking. I watched his face drain of all color as he scrolled through the counts. Wire fraud, identity theft, embezzlement, conspiracy. "The FBI is tracking your phone's GPS right now. I suggest you leave." For a second, he looked genuinely remorseful, but then the old, familiar, narcissistic rage twisted his face. "You're destroying this family. Everything I did was for us, for you." Sirens wailed in the distance. "Goodbye, Elias." I disconnected and watched him bolt. He made it 2 blocks before 3 squad cars cornered him against a boutique storefront. The takedown was professional, swift. Agent Miller called minutes later. "We have him. Reese was arrested at his condo 20 minutes ago. Your mother is being questioned. The evidence, your dossier, was instrumental. The foundation fraud alone is enough for serious time. This is airtight." I thanked her, hung up, and opened my personal ledger one final time. 5 years of payments, $192,000. I highlighted the entire column and pressed delete. The cell was empty. I saved and closed the file. 6 months later, I sat 3 rows back in the federal courthouse. Elias, in an orange jumpsuit, looked shrunken, defeated. Reese sat opposite, avoiding everyone's gaze. Beatrice wasn't there. Her plea deal involved state-subsidized senior housing in a distant suburb. The judge called my name. I walked to the podium, my heels clicking on the marble floor. The courtroom was packed with media and members of the Community Outreach Foundation, their faces hard. "Your Honor, members of the court," I began, my voice clear and unwavering. "I didn't lose a father in this process. I lost a liability." Elias snapped his head up. I looked him directly in the eyes.
For 5 years, I was lied to, defrauded, and weaponized to cover my brother's debts and my parents' criminal lifestyle. They taught me to balance books. I used those skills to balance the scales of justice. I stepped back. The judge read the sentences. Elias, 5 years federal prison for multiple counts of wire fraud and identity theft. Reese, probation, a permanent felony record, and impossible restitution. The gavel fell. It was final. 3 weeks after the sentencing, I sat on my own dock drinking coffee as the sun rose over a quiet lake. The deed to this small, legitimate cabin arrived yesterday. No cosigners, no hidden clauses, just Julian Thorne, sole owner. I bought it with the money I had genuinely saved. The payments were gone, the photoshopped tax bills replaced by real ones. This lake was quieter than my grandmother's, but the silence didn't hurt. It healed. I opened my journal. Love isn't measured in dollars. Duty doesn't mean doormat. I received a text from Marcus Sterling. Congratulations on the promotion, senior forensic consultant. Well deserved. I was now specializing in family financial abuse cases. The work mattered in a way audits never did. I closed my journal and watched the sun climb. For years, I balanced their books. Now I've balanced my life. The ledger was finally cleared, showing what I always suspected. I was never the debt. I was the asset they couldn't afford to keep.